For most of March, I was starting to get tired of making games. More than that, I wasn't having any fun. Game dev was starting to feel like a chore. I would get on the computer and stare at the screen, trying to make a game that didn't want to be made. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I got over my game dev melancholy. At the end of February, I decided to take a break from the game I had been working on called Push and Plunder. I got started on a new project. I still had rage games on my brain ever since I made Circus Benny, a rage game I made last year. I planned on making a game that I thought would feature well in a YouTube video. I spent the next couple of weeks fiddling around with prototypes for rage platformers. Frankly, these prototypes were uninspired. They were very similar to games I've made in the past, such as Marshmallow Panic, which is the first game I made on my YouTube channel, and other games that other people have made. These prototypes felt like they were lacking in creativity, and as a result, I hated working on them. But I felt stuck, because I had made a plan and I didn't want to give up on it. After slogging through a couple weeks of painful forced game development, I realized I wasn't having any fun making these games. And if I'm not having fun, what am I doing this for? It certainly isn't for the fame and the money. With this realization, I decided to yeet the last couple of weeks of work into the trash and get started on a new project. A project I could enjoy. I set out to make a game that was both fun to work on and fun to play. Let's see if I was able to do it. I started out by adding a sprite to a brand new project and picking a couple of behaviors at random. I picked the drag and drop behavior and the rotate behavior. I then added a coin object for the player to collect by shooting it with a bullet. I locked the drag and drop to the horizontal axis only. I added in a bullet counter and a score counter. I made it so that you have to hit a coin to get back your bullet, and if you run out of bullets, the game is over. Game over, man. At this point, the game was about timing your shots to collect coins as they spawned on the screen, but I decided to change it completely. I changed the coins into enemies, and I gave the player infinite bullets, but only 5 lives. Then I made the enemies chase after the player. I added a bullet cooldown timer so the player wouldn't be able to spam bullets. I changed the player movement from the mouse to the arrow keys. I made it so the player could move on the vertical axis again, and I had the finalized version of the game mechanics finished. I had a couple of things I wanted to try to do better than I did in the past, so I got started on the game's art and sound. How do you think I did? I made art for the enemy, in this case a green slime. I made the tiles for the background. I tried out a few different designs for the player, but I settled on this red one-eyed creature. I made a heart for the player's lives count. I made this particle effect for the bullet. I added a vignette and a title. I made a splat animation for the slime's death and finished up the rest of the art. Next, I got started on the sound effects, but before we get to that, I have a surprise for you. My goal is to reach 5,000 subscribers, and when I do, I'm going to be cracking open some chicken eggs and slurping down the contents completely raw. I'll be posting video evidence when it happens. Back to the video. In the past, my sound effects have always been lackluster, but recently I got a book on making sound effects called The Sound Effects Bible by Rick Veers. After studying the book, I felt like I was prepared to make some much improved sound effects. If you are interested in learning the same stuff I learned, let me know and I might make a video about it. I made sound effects for the player getting hit, the slimes appearing, the bullet firing, the slimes dying, and I made a sound for the buttons in the game. Finally, I also made a battle theme and a game over theme. I polished up the game by adding in more effects and screen transitions, and the game was pretty much done. But was it fun? Well, I had a ton of fun working on the project, especially the early part where I kept making changes. I also enjoyed making better sound effects. But is the game fun to play? Well, I'll let you decide. Links to the game are in the description below and you can play for free. I think I succeeded in reminding myself how fun game dev is supposed to be, especially when you are being creative and trying new things. Thanks for watching.